How's it going, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the James Loud Podcast. And today our special guest is Catchmaster Alex. How you doing today?
Good. Yeah.
Dude, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I've actually been wanting to come on your show. I've been a fan, been checking it out, and we had some mutual friends. And
yeah, Josh Freeman, Silverback Freeman.
Yeah.
He's the one who connected us. I go 20 years back, more than 20 years back with him, and you as well.
Yeah.
So we were running around the same circle at just different sides of it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we probably even were in the same room at one point, I'm sure.
Probably. Yeah, seriously. And we both like sour diesel.
Yeah. Yeah, sour D. Yeah. That's actually, I think that's how I met Josh really is, I want to say initially he was picking up sour.
Yeah.
And then when he was out, he needed more sour. And I was growing more sour. Totally. So then I ended up supplying him sour. It was really actually for me, it's funny, we wouldn't say it right then, but it was Chem dog, I mean, it was getting the Chem 91s, Chem 4s.
You're calling it Chem dog, even though it was sour, calling it sour.
They were sour passing is kind of how I would say, I'd be honest, with Josh, let him know what's up and all that. But as long as they had the good nose, that was all what it was all about.
He used to grow the best sour that I remember.
Yeah.
His outs and his depths of sour were sticky.
I know.
Like sticky buds. You just don't see stuff like that.
Well, that depth pass is indoor. I mean,
he sold it for more than indoor. Like I paid more for his
even knowing it was depth. You're like, you just had to have it.
You didn't care because it was so loud and you open the bag up, it would hit you in the face. Yeah. I love that.
That's what's up for sure.
Yeah. I miss those days.
Yeah.
Especially Sonoma, Cazadero, Mendocino, back then, it was at its peak, I think.
Yeah.
And not that they're not peaking now in their own ways, but like back then, the cannabis scene really peaked up there.
Yep. Sebastopol. Yeah. For
Sebastopol.
Me. Yeah, that's where I was at.
Occidental, Sebastopol, Santa Rosa, all those places. There was great flower going around late 90s, early 2000s, even before that. But like, man, the flower was great back then.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
How'd you get your start in the industry?
Feel like I grew up in the subculture. It's kind of just part of my life. You kind of have no choice but to be in it almost. It felt like at the moment, just because it's like a big part of like your circle. My dad grew. I was just all around cannabis all the time. So, but I've kind of had, kind of went more towards like my natural abilities was like sales, and just combining like my love for cannabis and like my community and having access, I think is probably a big reason.
Yeah.
It's I think probably the number one reason why I got into it is just like you were saying, some of the best cannabis, I think, especially back then that anyone had ever seen, in the world or in the United States. So obviously there's some stuff that's comparable in the world, but coming out of Mendocino, Humboldt, obviously there's a lot of Humboldt roots. The Bay Area. I mean, it just goes
Emerald
on.
Triangle, Bay Area.
It's just right place, right time. I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, we were blessed to be in that place at that time.
That's really what it is,
for sure.
Yeah, because I mean, it's funny. It's to say I'm 40 years old and to say I've been in it for 20 years is kind of ridiculous. More than 20 years.
I'm 47.
You're 47.
I'm 47. I feel you.
Yeah, there's not a lot of professions you can be this age and say you've been in it that long.
Yeah.
Just to, it's pretty amazing.
We talk about our 18-year-old selves a lot of this show. Like,
yeah.
I think there's only two people that you really want to impress. That's your 18-year-old self and your 80-year-old self. And I think most of the people in this industry, their 18-year-old selves would be pretty stoked.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I know my 18-year-old self would be like, right on. That's pretty fucking cool.
Yeah. It's pretty magical. Honestly, I owe a lot to cannabis.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's brought a lot for me. I've had some hard times, and the transitions and trials and tribulations that I think pretty much everyone has gone through, especially if they've been in it for the last couple of decades.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't trade it for the world.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. And you've done all kinds of stuff in the industry. I mean, besides the products you have now, you used to work with Botanicare.
It's kind of a funny story how I got into all that. I was growing and I got turned on to Botanicare's like Pro Grow, Pro Bloom, Liquid Karma recipe.
Yeah.
With the CalMag, of course. CalMag was in everything. Totally. And I was just rocking that recipe that was passed down to me from someone older than me. We were picking it up from Hydro Depot was one of the connects. And there's of course Marin Hydro. Those two connects.
Yep.
People started liking my results, right? And they're asking me what I'm doing. So naturally, I mean, I wasn't working for Botanicare, but I was working for Botanicare on accident. Because what I was doing is I was getting everyone turned on to their recipes.
Yeah.
And we were pushing the EC high and like the PPMs high on that stuff because I mean, it just worked, especially with sour, we were able to push it.
Right.
And, get that yield up and get that nose up and all that. But I started actually, let's see here, I moved to another spot. I had 6 grow ops actually back then.
Yeah.
and they were all partnerships kind of deals, the medical era stuff.
Yeah.
And one of the spots was next to Santa Rosa Hydro's new little, they had a little shop. I mean, they didn't have the big one. They had a little one that's now owned by Grow Generation.
Yeah.
But so I was a regular there. And then they really started stocking a whole bunch of Botanicare product because of me. Like I'm going there and I need 5 gallons of this, I need 5 gallons of that, over and over again.
Right.
I need, do you guys got the 30-gallon drums? Like,
totally.
And they're like, who is this guy? And so then I actually started helping them hire and train there. That's kind of got started in the industry a little bit there. Wow. At Santa Rosa Hydro, I helped them find some people, train some of their staff, helped with the purchasing, like letting them know, hey, you need these supplements, you need these, these additives. This is how, this is ready grow cocoa, this is how cocoa works, because not a lot of people were rocking it as strong back then.
I hated cocoa back in the day where you'd have to get the blocks.
Oh, the block. Yeah. All that's terrible.
Where you put them in a kiddie pool and you got to break them down.
That's why ready grow was like kind of a big thing back then, from Botanicare, obviously, there's a lot of other companies that make just as good or better products than that. But at that time, it was revolutionary to have something pre-mixed and ready to go and stuff. But it still required a lot of CalMag,
right? Totally.
Which was really, really beneficial for Botanicare. But anyways, long story short, I'll try on that side is that they finally opened up a bigger facility, and I was rolling through with carts, and Treg, the founder of Botanicare, was there at the shop. Yeah. And he had never seen such a large array of their products. Usually when they go in the shops, it's just the heavy hitters. Yeah. But I was getting really into the nitty gritty, all their cool little supplements they had, C-Plex and Organicare line and all these things, Humic and Fulvix and kind of messing with those different things. And so they saw it. It looked really nice and it was really stocked. And then they saw me rolling through with the big carts. Yeah. And he's all, get that guy's number. I want to talk to him. Yeah. Initially, I didn't want to stop growing really. So I wasn't, didn't have time, and I was making good, making good, let's just say, with growing. So they asked me to work for them, but instead what I did is I did some development beta testing with them. Nice. And actually helped create a 3-part nutrient system. We had like 8 bottles come in, all white label. And we broke them all the way down to just 3 parts. It's called Kind. It's a 3-part nutrient system.
Oh yeah.
The goal was to not require CalMag. Yeah. And if you think about it, this like Botanicare's most famous product that's literally used with GH, it's used with advanced nutrients at that time, especially, was their CalMag. Yeah. It was Botanicare's CalMag. Sure. So then he's like, well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a 3-part that doesn't require CalMag. Yeah. So it's kind of, awesome. It's a very, very creative idea.
Yeah. Sure. And so Growilla was sold to Botanicare. Was that before or after?
No, I brokered that
You're
deal.
the one who brokered it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So I had my indoor ops, and then I had the depths and the outdoors, and all those, and those, Josh really turned me on to the top dress. Totally. And all that. Yeah. That stuff's great. It's a lifesaver. Yeah. Really. I mean, just if you need to leave and you're relying on somebody that doesn't know what they're doing, you tell them, okay, look, you lay it all down. Easy solution. And just water. Yeah. You know what I mean? And we'd scratch it in a little bit, Yeah. Everyone's now doing no-till and stuff, but. Yeah. Low-till, no-till, whatever, Yeah. Exactly. But, there was we had meetings. I did a lot of R&D for Botanicare. Nice. We were developing a baker's rack tray at the time. I think right around that time. And we were making a blend called Slacker. Didn't quite take off, but it was like a soil blend. And they were talking about a lot of organic inputs. And I just kind of brought it up in one of those brainstorming meetings at Botanicare in Arizona, by the way, because I have to go to Arizona once a month for those guys. Oh, wow. And then they're like, well, tell me more about this Growilla. And we just kind of went back and forth, and I connected them together and brokered that deal. And now technically Scott's Miracle-Gro, one of the largest companies in the growers industry, owns our buddy Josh's
agriculture,
product that he created.
Yeah, totally.
That's amazing, right? Like
totally.
It's amazing how it goes. Yeah.
Yeah. Josh did all kinds of stuff, Roots and Harmony. Yep. And I mean, his we were just talking about, our last guest, Kyle, was talking about his mixtapes being the best.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He's a DJ, and Josh had calendars. I remember his calendar.
I
actually hung his calendars up.
Do you have any of those still?
I still do. I actually have a briefcase full of calendars, High Times magazines.
We got to bring back the Roots and Harmony calendars.
Yeah. Those are sick. I mean, I literally have the one with Cushage in it, because he used to go Cushage and Sour Diesel. And then he's also the guy who brought the Durban down from Canada. He went and bought the Sensi seed pack of Durban, and then made the Ripple Plum. Yeah. And the raspberry cheesecake. Damn. And a bunch of stuff. Sour Diesel times Durban. Yeah. He's that dude. So, yeah. He's a good friend. That's dope.
Actually, I had my hands on some Durban for a minute. Yeah. I was growing it and picking it up and moving it and stuff. It's
cool. So funny, because his Durban is different
really
than the Durban I see from everybody else, pretty much. Like if his Durban is the real Durban. I've seen it for a handful of times, but most of the Durban that's going around is very like super silver.
I mean, I haven't even honestly seen what I know as Durban for years.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen Durban from people, and I'm like, hey, that's more like super silver haze than it did like Durban poison, because Durban is really musky.
Really musky. It hits hard.
I mean, it'll kick you in the dirt.
It will. Yeah.
So strong,
and it takes long to grow too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if you push it, you know. But
I mean, you get monster cola.
Yeah, the trade off is yield. Yeah, for sure.
It looks awesome indoors. It's also kind of hairy.
Yeah, so. I remember it being a little dark too. Yeah. And it's interesting, all the different bag appeal things that happened over time that's changed. You know, I remember going from you want it to be bright and limey, you know, to purple, and then not purple.
Then you couldn't sell purple to save your life.
Purple was super unpopular.
Yeah, there was like the purple Oracle GDP days, and all of a sudden, and
super purple and purple Urkel.
Yeah, and there was like good Mendo perps and all this stuff, and it was really popular. And then one day, nobody wanted purple. You couldn't sell it to save your life.
Yeah,
it was like you got to go to Richmond to sell purple or wherever. Like there was a couple places you could probably still move it.
Yeah,
they definitely didn't want it in LA. The Bay Area was very picky,
and I think OG and sour pretty much took over right then, right? Is that
totally
is that the right order? I think
that's for sure.
Yeah.
So and it was all everyone wanted OG.
I have a theory about that, about the OG and sour popularity thing. It's very different than what we're dealing with now. Is that it was actually really hard to grow. It was actually hard to get it to come out really good.
Yeah.
You know, and that if you got really good OG or really good sour, like good strong nose,
right?
You know, it's full potential. You were the shit and you had the shit.
Yeah.
You know, it's not everybody could do that. You know, and so I think that had some play in it.
Well, and I don't honestly think that they perform as well under LEDs as they do perform under HPS or CMH or a combination of the two. That's just my 2 cents. I've heard from, Brian and Vital, some of the stuff those guys do. The CMH is the ticket. I've heard from some people. I mean, I like HPS still.
Yeah.
I like HPS flower. I like smoking HPS. I like the terps.
Yeah.
Not that there's anything wrong with LED. I think it works for a lot, especially the purple stuff, candy stuff. I think that it works well for that. But, it's a personal preference too. But I don't see a lot of good OG now. We don't really see it. And it is hard to grow.
The best OG I've seen to this day has always been light depth or been light, growing.
Yeah.
Not full outdoor, but like, full sun depth, not light assist.
I mean, I see some good Doc OG coming from Humboldt still. Like there's some good Doc OG packs that I've seen that are, from their friends grow that are like
on that point though, really it's Chem 91 that I like the most. Like I mean, in that realm.
It's the most nostalgic. For me, it's the most nostalgic. Yeah. I like it. It's subtle, but it is like burnt tires. Like Chem 91 has that burnt tire appeal, and if you love it, you love it.
See, it's anti-candy really almost.
Yeah, it's totally anti-candy, and it's not like GMO or Chem D, because GMO comes from Chem D, and that's kind of like it has that burnt tire still, but it's different.
It's a little sweet.
More, and
or just subtly.
Yeah, and the Chem 91 was different than OG. OG's very like earthy and piney and citrusy. Yeah, and Chem 91 it has earthiness. I wouldn't say it's necessarily really citrusy, even though there's citrus in it.
Yeah.
It's pungent.
Yeah. It's its own thing. I like to see, learn more, see more come out about the terps on the Chem 91.
Yeah.
Be cool.
Yeah. I like Chem 91. I like sour. Like those are good. And they're coming back.
Yeah, they are. Yeah. They're making their comeback. It's really about, the right ones,
Yeah.
But we'll see. But there's some arguments sometimes about that over the years.
Yeah.
As people say their OG, right, is the OG, or their sour's the sour. That's always been
always been since the beginning of those things.
Even early on.
And there's been a lot of like
it's whatever New York wanted really is what
exactly
ended up being the
But yeah, that gas, there's something special about it. And gas has taken on its own life. We had like the GMOs and then the Donnie burgers, and then they've evolved into the double burger or whatever. And those wash really well. But but that's still not Chem 91. It's very different.
Yeah.
So a lot of people, when they, especially the younger generation, they relate to gas more of like that GMO. I mean, Gorilla Glue. That's another one that took over. I brought Gorilla Glue up from the cup in LA in 2000.
And that's another one that's changed. That changed pretty quickly.
2013, though, it won the cup there, and they gave out clones to everybody. It was the smartest move. It was the exact opposite of whatever we thought we were supposed to be doing.
With
genetics, we were like,
it actually promoted it.
It promoted it. It blew up, and
you needed to share it. It needed to get around. People needed to talk about it.
Yeah, and they so freely gave it to everybody. It was, rest in peace, Josie Wales.
Yeah. Actually, the first time I was introduced to it was in going to Botanicare meetings from Doug Martin. Do you know Doug Martin at all in Colorado?
I know who he is.
Yeah, he actually brought, we would do that because we came from all different spots, states. We do our Botanicare meeting. We all brought our buds,
Nice.
And he had his nice Gorilla Glue.
Yeah, I remember when Josh switched over from sour to glue.
That's
it was so when it.
He is the gorilla, so
it was in high demand. The Silverback Growilla. But and then his hair turned gray.
Yeah, that's perfect time.
But so when I remember, I gave cuts to him and my friend Joe and a couple other people that I had got from the cup, and it was at your other people too because they gave them out so freely. It really spread like wildfire. It went from everybody growing sour to everybody growing Gorilla Glue within one season because it finished faster. New York.
That reminds me of something. Blackberry Kush.
Blackberry Kush
is a similar phenomenon. It was like that. No matter what, it looked good. No matter what,
it looked so good. And outdoor, it performed well. And it came dark.
Yeah,
but it was low THC.
Yeah, but you could dep it too, and it would look like indoor for sure.
It looked like straight indoor.
Yeah, you couldn't tell. There's probably today you probably still couldn't tell.
Most people couldn't tell.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
It was a good one.
I actually ran that and did pretty well with Blackberry Kush.
Yeah,
I liked it.
I liked the terps, but it was just never like a strong.
Well, that's what everyone complained. They called it like Fool's Gold or something. People were complaining
Pretendica.
About that. Yeah, but there's different philosophies on what kind of different kinds of feelings cannabis should give you and.
Sure.
And all that. So maybe it's something that could come back around again, and people
I think for flavor, and I think it's been bred into a lot of things.
Yeah, it has. Yeah, for sure. Because I crossed it a little bit. I mean, I'm not going to come on here and say I'm a breeder, officially, but I played around like a hobby.
Nice.
And I've crossed it with sour and things like that.
Dude, that's what it's all about. My book is basically all about that for hobbyists.
I ordered a book.
I saw that.
Yeah.
I think I reposted your reel.
Oh yeah, nice.
Dude, but thank you very much.
I'm looking forward to it. Yeah.
It was an adventure writing the book, but it's for everybody. And it's great being able to put all the information, Greg Green did it 25 years ago, but there hasn't been anything since really.
Yeah.
So I'm happy to put a book on the market that I think is a great, resource for information about breeding because I think everybody should breed, honestly.
Dude, it's so fun.
If you're a good grower, you should breed. If you're not a good grower, you should learn how to grow better.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, because the pheno hunting is where you actually see the difference in the plants. And if you don't grow them well enough to have them express, it's really hard saying this one's better than this one better than this one, and vice versa. If you line them up 10 at a time and you're not growing them well, it's kind of tough.
Yeah, and I still find people that out there. I travel the United States. I do speaking gigs and stuff for conventions and stuff.
Yeah.
And you meet a lot of people that are just getting into it all, and they don't realize some of the complexities there are in pheno hunting and keeping track of those and making sure that you keep the ones that you want, and taking it all the way to flower just to find out which one is good and which one's bad. And there's a lot involved for sure. I have a lot of respect for people who are in it like yourself.
It's lots of fun. And the thing is like the amount of genetic diversity varies from one plant to the next.
Yeah.
And so you have something like Blue Dream, you make an S1 of Blue Dream, and you basically get 4 expressions if you have the real Santa Cruz Blue Dream cut. But then you take something like Gelato 33 and you pop seeds, and every single expression is different.
Yeah.
Where you see the flower of it, the way they grow, there's so much diversity. But then on the same note, you have something like Gelato 41, and it has a lot more stability than the 33. And that came from,
like I said, it gives it a lot of commercial viability.
For sure.
Yeah. I mean, it has.
And Blue Dream's cool. It's easy to grow. I think there's a lot of people that hate on it for whatever reason.
Well, I think that ties into that thing I was telling you about, like OG and sour being kind of hard and where Blue Dream was easy. So easy. Blue Dream kind of got ripped on. It's not that it was bad weed.
Totally. Yeah. I think the effect. Some people want that like strong narcotic effect, and other people want that uplifting. And then some people want like through the roof Durban that, most people can't handle because their heart beats too fast.
Yeah. Yeah. So there are different types of people. Like people have different react differently too, for sure.
Absolutely,
we've been seeing that.
Or our body chemistries are also different. That it affects us different, and then taste and flavor is so subjective. So is effect.
Yeah.
So
that's true with wine too. I see that with wine. They got the sommelier. They're like putting all the the hints in your ear about what you're tasting. And
totally.
Sure enough, it starts appearing. It's like magic.
All of a sudden you're like butter. I taste the butter in the chocolate.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, same thing with cigars. So cigars is a tough one. Cause like, and after getting a bunch of data points, you realize what's what. And cigars are so strong. You're looking for the subtleties, and the subtleties are there, but you have to experience it enough. Just like with cannabis, I think the average person looks at weed and they're like, "Oh, that's weed." Yeah. But after you've tried 50 different things, or 100 different things, or 1,000 different things, you have a real different opinion of it. Yeah. And that goes along with growing too. It's as basic or as complex as you want to make it.
Yeah, there's a lot of parallels with tobacco, cannabis, and wine, alcohol in general. Yeah. I think tobacco is one of those things that gets kind of overlooked a lot. I mean, obviously there's the cigar industry. Yeah. But like, the tobacco plant and all that, I actually grow tobacco. Nice. And I have seeds and some crosses and stuff when I grow it at home. And there's little tobacco buds. I don't know if you've seen it. Yeah.
Philip Morris is coming for you.
Yeah. No. Oh yeah. Yeah. Take that out of the podcast. No, I just mean my own little home grow. I'm not promoting a tobacco brand right now.
Or growing home tobacco.
Yeah. No, but it is awesome. Like the leaves get all fuzzy. They get a cool little like almost like trichome looking things all over the buds and the leaves and stuff. Tobacco is really cool. I think it's sacred, that you can have a lot more respect for it. It's been kind of bastardized, like you're saying.
Yeah. And when we're talking about lung cancer and other things, I mean, they've proven that tobacco can cause lung cancer with cigarettes. But like, I think from a sacred and medicinal standpoint.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess in some cases as a pest control thing too, in some cases.
Absolutely. Some pest control.
Yeah.
Man. Yeah. It's interesting because I can't stand the smell of like regular cigarettes. I used to smoke cigarettes a long time ago.
Yeah. I don't smoke cigarettes either. Yeah. Like I said, I just home grow a little leaf or, roll a blunt or something like that. Yeah.
So our mutual friend Josh, he smokes spliffs.
Spliffs, yeah.
A lot of my friends smoke spliffs, but these guys used to bong rip. We were talking about that a little earlier about mixing it with weed and then taking bong rips.
It would grind it up. I mean, I fell into that for a little while because it's kind of like a whippet almost, or like you're like zorbing, kind of like people would say you zorb on it.
Right.
We would take those quick little mini plastic bongs, just and hit it real quick. You'd take like she would grind up almost a whole cigarette in with a whole bud.
Right.
And grind it in real fine so she could smack the whole thing. Snap it. That's what it was. Yeah. They call them smokes, moke snaps. We call them
smokes,
mixed rips. Mixed rips is another one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was one time I actually took one of those while sitting on a balcony thing, like an edge, at an apartment.
Oh no!
And I almost fell over and fell off.
I bet those will get you.
Yeah, I got pretty sick on them a couple times too. It was enough for me to stop doing them. I was like, that was years ago, many years ago.
Well, there's a guy named Paul Check, and Paul Check uses the volcano, and he vaporizes tobacco. I think he vaporizes other stuff too, but he vaporizes tobacco.
Yeah,
for concentration. Oh, and so he does a lot of writing and stuff like that. He's one of the people I look up to.
Like I said, I still respect these things. They get kind of blown out of proportion or bastardized sometimes, like you're saying. Like,
but in their
abused.
natural form, it's not a bad thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So, and it can be used responsibly. And I think, you're talking about something where there's no combustion. So he's vaporizing it. I think that's probably a safer and smarter way. Man. And if it helps with concentration, he's a great writer. He's also, he does sports medicine and stuff like that. So it's pretty amazing the stuff he does.
That's dope. I did hear you mention Brian briefly in there, from Vital Garden Supply.
Oh yeah, we got his hat right here.
I got a couple of his hats at my house too. I actually worked with Vital Garden Supply for a little bit in between Royal Gold and
you worked for Royal Gold as well.
Nice. In between Royal Gold and what I'm doing now. Yeah,
awesome.
Yeah, I went from Botanicare to Royal Gold to Vital to what I'm doing now, which is Catchmaster. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, let's dive into Catchmaster because your name is Catchmaster Alex on Instagram. Yeah,
I've taken a lot of ownership over this project. It's a bigger company than me. I think initially a lot of people, I think they go, that is my company,
Yeah.
But that's the way I take pride in it and I carry in it. When these guys approached me, they came to me and were presented the idea of bringing them into the growers industry. Yeah. They were actually called Atlantic Paste and Glue Company, and they do have a brand called Catchmaster that's for the professional pest world. And they primarily made like rat glue traps and and they made the yellow sticky traps and all those kind of things, but they never really put any hyper focus on the growers industry and the growers market. Mm-hmm. They did a lot of they work with some pretty big companies like Terminex and Orkin and stuff.
Yeah.
And they're American company, family owned company.
Yeah.
Initially they were kind of pitching it to me. I was just like, no, I'm like, cause I'm a nutrient fertilizer, guy, like all that kind of stuff. Just the growers world, almost never really thought twice about the sticky trap. The sticky trap is like, but it's in every grow room and it's always been there.
Right.
You know what I mean? And they really started breaking it down to me, like how what their perspective on it is, like the professional way of utilizing them as pest monitors. Yeah. We always called them pest traps, and people are kind of haphazardly hanging them in the grow rooms, and then they're just spraying, and all these kind of things. I mean, there's a lot of growers for a long time that just kind of saw shit and they sprayed, right?
Yeah.
And then they put the traps up to control gnats. That's kind of been the MO.
For sure.
So that was, all honesty, that was my interpretation of what a sticky trap was for. It was just
soil gnats.
Soil gnats.
Yeah, right.
And then when they started breaking down the science of it and all that, I started studying. I'm working on my degree right now in sustainable agriculture.
Oh wow.
I'm taking a lot of, it really got me going. It got me kind of more excited because it's something outside of what I've been doing all these years, which is like I said, soil and fertilizers. Focusing on integrated pest management, understanding the complexities of it has been awesome. I created Catchmaster Grow. Like I've been the front of that, the head of that entire thing. It's a market segment manager, essentially. Helped create the brand. We're the team. We have a team. We did a website, of course. New products, developing new products, and really getting the message out there, doing hitting the road and all that. Before that, there really wasn't a clear, concise message about like how to use it. So at first I was like, there's no way I'm gonna go down this path. I'm working on 3 years now, working with these guys and on this project. The sky's the limit for me. I see so much more improvement for integrated pest management and protocols for cannabis industry.
Yeah.
There's people who have their SOPs and have their protocols. I'm not going to go around telling people to change their SOPs necessarily, but there's just a few little tweaks and few things that the professionals, like the people who never stepped a foot in a cannabis facility ever, they don't, a lot of them won't even service cannabis facilities. These are federally based companies,
right?
But I got to have a lot of their information, a lot of their knowledge, that because I think the biggest thing right now for that side of things is having a dedicated IPM manager. Is kind of you have a person who that also does the cleaning of the plants and the cleaning of the room, things like that. You have them also do a good checking of the pest monitors, having the pest traps up, actually having monitoring for insects and seeing what insects they have, when they have them, where they have them. Right. That we can take appropriate actions, And this stuff I know but traveling around the United States and all these emerging markets everywhere, and there's a lot of misinformation. And
so much misinformation.
I would say when I first started this, I would say more than half were doing it wrong.
Yeah.
What they're doing is they're spraying like crazy, And so and that's okay. I get it. That's part of the SOP. And I'm not trying to tell people to stop spraying, but the goal of IPM, and this might be controversial, is to eventually reduce or eliminate chemical sprays, or to reduce and even maybe organic sprays. You want to get down to the point where you pretty much aren't doing any.
Yeah.
And that's not just because of sticky traps. Sticky traps aren't going to magically do that on their own. But you got to do things like have good genetics like yours.
Yeah.
Where you're doing tissue culture. They're tested. They're proven. That's the first thing, right?
That's the first step. Yeah. That's just the foundational stuff.
Yeah. Right? And I don't think people fully wrap their heads around how important that is yet.
Yeah.
That's the only way they're going to get to that next stage and get to that end goal, which is to stop spraying basically haphazardly.
And there's so many variables too. Like you use soil. What's coming in on your soil?
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. That's exactly right. And then there's cultural controls. Cultural controls. I mean, humidity, temperature, all those things. And then of course, like we said, sanitization and cleanliness, all those things.
So huge.
But in the middle of all of that, the reason why I'm so passionate about with Catchmaster is that it's to monitor the whole time.
Yeah.
There's not enough monitoring going on in the industry. So you want to be monitoring from when you get the clones, you have your pest monitor there, and pest monitor is a sticky trap, right? Yeah. But it's the professional term. You have it there, and you have it at the teen stage. You have it at the growing stage, the flowering stage. You have different zones. People don't think about zones. For a long time, people are just hanging them. Yeah. One. You got to have one below the canopy. You got to have one near the medium.
Yeah.
You want to have one at or near the canopy, and one above the canopy as well. And if you're in a greenhouse, you want to have up above way up there in the peak. Yeah. You have like an ag rolled out for mature insects, and all these things, and have someone check those things, twice a week. Yeah. And I'm probably preaching to the choir, but it's like, especially with, what you got going on with your brand is, your whole thing is having, clean, good genetics, but,
well, and if you're selling clones, you're only as good as your last clone. So if you give someone hop latent viroid or whatever new virus is out, or you have pests, those are really big issues. And that basically will, that'll affect your brand, especially over a long period of time. And people might buy your stuff because you're popular or you're the new hype guy.
Yeah.
But if you give them a virus
that
affects their bottom line, affects their wallet,
see, and
you said a problem.
You said it right, and that's actually the other aspect of IPM too that I've been educating people on is IPM. Even though it says integrated pest management, a good IPM protocol or program or practices is about profitability. And that's why when you say reduce pesticide sprays, well, why can't I just keep spraying? Well, that costs you money.
For one thing, it costs money.
Yeah. And then you have mold and fungus, viruses. All these things are going to affect yield. Spraying constantly could affect yield. There's a lot of reasons why you want to have good IPM and good, a good protocol and actually follow it step by step in that order. Right. At the very last resort should be chemical spraying, to be honest.
Right.
That's your last resort. But there's a certain point where it always has to happen in any industry, restaurants, houses, hotels, throughout agriculture. There's a certain point where you have infestations or infestations, and sometimes there's no choice.
Well, if you have a nursery, I mean, there's protocols that you go through, and then same thing with your flower. But the less you spray, the better. Always. Right. Not only for your money, but for your plants.
Yeah, and I think the controversial thing is that a common SOP is you spray this chemical twice a week. Yeah, from my perspective, from everything I've been learning, really what it is you spray when you see this particular insect. That's actually what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be, you have a monitor out, okay, then you see a thrip, and then how many thrips per square does it trigger a particular spray? Yeah. And then that's supposed to, I mean, in a perfect world.
In a perfect world. But I think one of the problems with that is a lot of people are lazy and they don't have people going through the rooms looking for problems. Yeah. Because if you're very aware, and it comes down to awareness. At a certain level, it's like, how aware are you of exactly what's going on in your room on a microscopic level, but on a pest level where you can identify problems. That's why I like
the word monitoring. Yeah. Monitoring is super important. And actually, I don't want to forget to mention predatory insects, of course, being a great IPM solution, a program, part of a program. But that's another one where people will just buy those insects out of the idea that they're going to have mites or they're going to have aphids. People are actually releasing predatory insects like as a preventative, measure. And there's probably some people in that industry that will recommend that. And that's, I don't want to start fights over that or anything like that. But I think it's more ideal to know what you have and when you have it and where you have it and what insects to release. And because again, that's wasting money and resources and time. You might not have ever known that you actually had good genetics and they were clean. And your medium was clean, like you were saying.
So on a 50 light room, how many traps do you need? How do you break it down, and exactly where do you hang them?
So that's the thing is, I actually think of it as like plant count more so, plant numbers. And if you have planter beds, it's a little different than if you have pots. So with pots, this may sound funny because I'm now selling sticky traps, so I'm gonna be like, put one with every plant, right? Sure. But the thing
you have plant tags, so you technically could put one with every plant.
You can. So we now make a plant ID. We call it a dual action plant label. Yeah. And what that does is on one side you write the name of the plant or a date even. Yeah. And then you turn it to whatever your protocol is for that. And then the other side is actually a transfer paper that you peel, and that will actually be your pest monitor.
One of the coolest things I've seen this year.
Yeah, for sure. Actually, I have one out. I can show you quick.
Yeah, let's go through some of your products.
Yeah, this is the plant label. This is the newest thing. This is pre-release essentially. I've been barely showing it around. Yeah. So here's your standard thing. It's got to be a little thicker, because it's going to stick in the medium, right? Mm-hmm. It's going to stick right in the rock wool or whatever. And then you write right on there. This is completely dry, no glue. And then you have this nice transfer paper on here. So the transfer paper is what protects the glue. Now you're going to think, okay, this is going to be all sticky. It's going to drip. None of that happens. Yeah. Like I said, this company's Atlantic Paste and Glue Company that's really behind Catchmaster. And they've been doing this since the 1950s. Yeah. And they have like this viscosity's down. It's non-toxic. Mm-hmm. And you can see it doesn't leave any residue on the finger at all. Yeah, you can put it right on the skin. Yeah.
Doesn't pull your hair.
Yeah, go ahead and touch it. Yeah. I know people are scared sometimes, but go ahead.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah, but it's just the right amount to catch flying insects and to monitor for insects. It's like, that's what you want, a nice dry glue. Yeah. And then you put these out. And this is a very cost-effective way of doing that. Mm-hmm. I actually see this as more of a nursery application, to be honest. Yeah. Personally, I think 4-inch pots, clone racks at the end of your clone tray, every clone tray, and the 4-inch pots. And then you move into like a bigger one, which this is actually still considered small per sticky trap.
Yeah.
But this is what I would put. So every box comes with 72 cards and it comes with stands.
Yeah.
Okay. And they're double-sided sticky. The same exact adhesive, like they're really good stuff. And this one's got the grid pattern on there.
Yeah.
So you can do your pest monitoring.
Totally.
Like a professional. And then it comes with a stand right here. You just go right down the middle and you just put this right in the medium. Okay. Nice. And then they also have the twist ties, of course. That's what most people are used to.
Right.
You have the hole. So you want to hang one up there.
Yep.
So to answer your question, I would put, one every plant or every other. The only reason why I'm saying that is because I have people that are doing that.
Yeah.
This is probably the first time I ever actually said it so boldly. Yeah. But I have people that are doing it and it's working. You got Miami Mango. Yeah. You had him on the podcast.
Oh yeah.
He's a big user of Catchmaster.
He's a great guy.
He puts he does double Rockwool, the tiered.
Yeah.
So he's got one, he's got a blue one and a yellow one. And nice. The blue one is actually for monitoring for thrips. So it's a nice little safety net to have in there.
Cool.
And then of course just hanging one every like maybe 500 square feet or something like that above the canopy.
Oh wow.
Yeah, for monitoring.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's that stuff. And then we have the roll, I don't want to make this too gimmicky and show all the products, but
no, I mean, that's kind of what the show is for. When you got a good product, I love sharing products that are good on my show. That's really, it becomes authentic rather than like a sale. It's not a sales pitch.
That's kind of how that's how I got into it. Going from companies like Botanicare, obviously very good companies, Vital Garden Supply. I do care about who I'm working for and what I'm representing. Just as well as I do. Those are great products over the years. And the ag roll is really cool. This is more of a greenhouse application.
Yeah.
And what you're looking at here, if you don't know already, this is 6 inches by 328 feet of double-sided sticky.
Nice. Looks like caution tape.
Yeah, it looks like, it pretty much is.
Right.
You put this one really, traditionally they put it above the canopy, above. There are people who are taking this, cutting it in different orientations.
Yeah.
It's actually more cost-effective for some people to actually take it and cut it. It's obviously messier, a little bit more labor-intensive to do that, in my opinion. But I have seen it where people are actually putting it on as end caps in indoor grow rooms and stuff like that.
Oh wow!
I've even seen Alex experiment with taking a 4-inch or maybe 6-inch and then cutting it and then sticking it on the rock wall. Wow. So he's messing around with that too and getting some good results from it.
Nice.
But that's an ag roll. So yeah, that's pretty much. I did bring some. I brought one other thing too that's way outside of what the industry's used to. It's called a vector fly light.
Yeah.
And I'll just pull it out.
That's the one I'm excited the most about, actually.
Because this is kind of a game changer, and I think this is going to be. I mean, this and I think the plant labels are the biggest game changer. Everyone's seen sticky cards, but the plant label that's sticky, I think, is super new. Yeah, and it'll be very useful. And then this is actually something that comes from the restaurant industry, which I wanted to talk to you about that too, because I know you're a restaurant guy.
Yeah.
This is made by Catchmaster. Catchmaster actually bought the company Vector, but Catchmaster, as you know, makes glue boards.
Yeah,
so I'll show you how this. Let me pull this out. So the first thought that people have is this is a fly zapper, like a bug zapper.
That would be cool.
But see, I know that is cool, but here's the thing. It's not sanitary.
Right.
Bug zappers are not sanitary. Right. You can't monitor the insect.
Mm-hmm.
There's guts going everywhere. They actually implode bugs. So this actually is a special UV Phillips bulbs that attract flying insects, and it brings them to a glue board here.
Oh, wow.
Inside. And this glue board, actually, I caught some bugs over down in LA. I brought this down with me in LA. There's some gnats on there. But this is a blackboard to hide the insects. So we do make white ones and yellow ones, and all that.
Yeah.
For better for monitoring. But yeah, that's how that works. It's pretty cool.
Thanks for bringing bugs in the facility.
Yeah, I know, right? I know, right? No, these are stuck to the glue board. So
yeah. No, it's all good.
That's a good point. There's one snuck by me. Yeah. Homeland. Where's Homeland Security?
Right.
Oh yeah. I think the other thing to mention, because I get this a lot, is well, can you put it in the grow room? Like that's not its application. You want to put it outside the grow rooms. Everyone's got the hallways leading to the grow rooms. You got the entrance, the exits. You want to have them all there. Another thing too is people put them up too high.
Yeah.
You actually want to have them about my height, which is about 4 feet. and you put them up there, and you want to have near garbage areas too, things like that.
Right.
And that's just going to be a really great addition to an IPM protocol. And
if you have garbages, you should probably have lids on your garbage in your grow.
Absolutely.
I think that's one of the most important things that I see people doing it all the time.
See, there you go. That's another one.
They miss it.
That's another one. I mean, that should be added to IPM protocol.
Yeah.
Is making sure the trash is covered.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't even allow fruit. No fruit in the facility. Nothing.
Hey, that's good.
Yeah.
But you let me in though.
Yeah, you're the exception.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Okay, dude. So I wanted to tell everyone about this little collaboration that we're doing. You brought this special gift for me, and these are pretty awesome. Why don't you tell everybody about the collaboration?
Yeah, so these are pre-packs.
Yep.
So what they are is they're chillums. They're American glass, high quality chillums, and they come with these corks, basically, right? The idea is that they're always branded. You know, they're essentially like you want to put your product in there so that you could showcase your product. So if you, for example, if you're selling genetics, right, and you got 6 different genetics, this would be a good example right here.
Yeah.
You could actually have a label on each one that would have the genetic. And then within it would either be the seeds or even better, maybe have the flower. So that way they could be like, hey, if I buy this guy's seeds or buy this guy's clones, this is the flower that's going to be in there.
Right.
And I think that's a really clever way of marketing your brand.
Randomly though,
yeah. So I had these made.
They actually fit perfectly in the box.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
So yeah, these are the seed boxes that we have, and normally you get a glass vial,
and this is some synchronicity right here,
dude. Some serious synchronicity.
These are boxes he already had made, and then
I already
have
them
separately.
So in the live chat, we are going to be giving away some of these for trivia questions.
Yeah.
Yeah, really cool, dude. Yeah. Dude, so I think Josh just showed up. We should have Josh come on camera and talk a little bit with us.
Yeah, that'd be awesome for sure. I know he's actually got some bud for me too. He's got some Blue Dream that he grew.
What's up, boys? How you guys doing?
What's up, dude?
Good to see you.
So everybody that doesn't know, this is Josh Silverback Freeman.
Yeah.
We go back 20 years, more than 20 years actually. He's the sour guy.
The man, the myth.
One of my best friends, man.
Long time.
Good guy.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Thanks,
he actually is the real Silverback now.
Yeah.
He did not have he had full dreads when we were friends
when we
were
first
younger.
met, but there was some silver in there for sure.
Dude, slowly turned all silver.
It was more like it looked like a dead squirrel on the back of my neck.
But yeah, so welcome to the show, man. We've been talking about getting you on here for quite a while.
Long time. Yeah, nice to be here.
Yeah, and thanks for introducing me to Alex. This has been a good show so far.
Well, you guys having a good time?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's been great. Yeah, we were talking about Growilla and Botanicare.
Old school stuff.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Royal Gold, King's Mix.
All that good stuff. Yeah, Royal Gold, man.
Yeah, you
that's the
a
one.
lot of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, King's Mix. That's the one, though.
Oh, that's good.
I used a lot of King's Mix in my life.
Yeah, man. Truckloads.
Age old. That's another one.
Semi-loads.
Oh, yeah.
Semi-truckloads.
Yeah. So we started this new thing, and I want to play a game with you guys, and we're going to go around and we're going to name strains.
Oh, fun.
Right?
Okay.
And so it's not a long game, but it's a fun game, and it always brings out the best in everybody because you guys are old school, so you guys remember some stuff. So I'm going to start out with the Aota.
Oh, shit. All of the above.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I know the cats that bred that.
Yeah, you do.
They're farm cats. Mm-hmm. They're from the Tennessee farm, but they're actually we're in Sonoma County when that work was being done.
Yeah.
But they've been in Humboldt for 2 decades plus, maybe 3.
Yeah.
Now, they went to college up there, so 3 decades.
So Sour Diesel.
Yeah, man.
Sour Diesel. Let's talk about Sour Diesel. You guys know each other from Sour Diesel.
Yeah. I met Alex before this, but some of the very best herb sour I've ever seen, besides the stuff I've grown and Joe's grown, has been from Alex.
Yeah. I appreciate that. That means a lot. I mean, coming from
really
you.
Really good. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's with sour, I feel like there's different levels of growers. You got, a guy that can pull it off and make it look pretty good. Then there's a guy that gets it maybe 8 out of 10 runs perfect. But then there's that perfect one and you're like, oh yeah, dude, this is just a different sour.
Yeah. And
he brought that.
And I think the key to that was actually, I grew it in 6 different climates, 6 different situations, and I figured out what was best. Yeah. But it's really, I had the advantage.
Oh yeah. You had the multiple sites.
I had multiple operations spread all over. And so I was able to actually dial it in, I had literally different things like light movers to everything you can imagine. I did Rockwool to cocoa to.
What was the best?
For me, my best actually was Dutch pots. Actually, I did really good with
the. So just so you guys, we've talked about Dutch pots on the show, but for those of you guys that don't know, the Dutch pots were square pots with the hole in the back, and they were imported. They were $5 a piece, and the only place you could buy them that I know of in California was the Garden Spout.
Oh yeah, Gabby, man. We all know Gabby.
So we used to drive up there to pick those up. You get 100 of them. It was expensive back in the day.
That's crazy. What did you guys like about that? I've never used one.
For me, it was frequent watering. I was frequent watering, and I think the other part of that was being able to correct problems quickly.
Was that through a hydro or?
And it's actually more popular now to be in smaller pots. These were pretty small.
So we used the soilless medium.
5 gallon.
No, mine was smaller. I was doing like 2 gallon, smart, the little 2 gallon Dutch pot.
They had a few different sizes.
Yeah. No, I filled it with, and then hydroton. We did the hydroton in there.
What were you putting in there?
I was running Botanicare. I was running rock. No, they're little clay pot pebbles.
Oh, okay.
Now those were good for a while. Then they got kind of messed up for a minute. They're salty, and also one of the big problems is they started getting smaller. Mm-hmm. And they started slipping, and they started slipping through the elbow and clogging. And
sure.
Yeah.
Sure,
and so and then you couldn't get that consistency anymore, Mm-hmm. So I ended up switching off of that after a while, but and also I ended up switching off of sour too.
What did you switch to?
What did I go from sour to, I played around with, cookies and OG. And I was able to fall back on Blackberry Kush a little bit.
Yeah.
Cause it has its fandom, it had its fandom at that time. So
do you remember the Hassan?
Oh,
I don't. So that one. I'm trying to remember. Tell me more about that one.
Tell us about it.
You know it is lamb's bread.
Oh, I was gonna say lamb's bread.
Because remember the cats.
When you were saying do the name game, I was gonna say lamb's bread.
But let's be specifically clear here. There was some cats in Sonoma County that came from out of town. We'll say I'm not gonna name them out, right?
Okay.
But they were tired of the Hassan name, and their buyers they changed the Hassan to lamb's bread.
Yeah.
And I caught them red-handed.
I ran that outside.
I caught them red-handed because I asked them, "How long are you flouring your lamb's bread for?" And they said 52 days. I said, "That's the Hassan." I saw the photo of it, right, and I knew that was a Hassan on Instagram, and I was like, "Yo, dude, that's not it, man. That's not the lamb's bread."
Okay, so I got another one.
Yeah.
Pink cream jasmine soda.
Oh, yeah.
How about that? So we go way back, so we can talk about these old school genetics. It's great because I haven't thought about that. So that was the shortest flowering outdoor plant that I ever grew. It was the one that never had yields. Problem with fucking caterpillars.
And
never had a problem with those tomato hornworms.
And it yields. It just doesn't get you that high.
I would never yielded that much. It didn't get that high, but man, it finished early and the taste was amazing.
I would get 3x3 bushes to be over a pound outside, and that was nice because that money, like you're saying, would be there early, and you'd have that set up for the trimmers coming in for the all year.
Totally.
What was the lineage on that one? Do you know?
I don't know. I've looked at the Jason King book and he has something in there that talks about it. I can't remember, but that came from the same cat I got that East Coast sour from. Yeah. He brought me both those at different times.
There was some other pink strains I remember. I don't remember that full name, but like Pink Cadillac or something. And
there's a Pink Cadillac.
Panties, I think too.
Yeah. Pink panties was, that should have been called black panties.
But it was throwing pink. It was throwing pink hairs, right? That was the motivation for naming them pink. Was that?
I think the pink, just depending on the one, because like the Loudberry used to throw, the 7A sour, you pop those, you'd find a whole bunch of those that would have pink pistils.
Raspberry cheesecake kush, also known as the raspberry kush.
I think you mentioned that one.
That threw the pink ones too.
Yeah.
That was a really popular
heavy yielder, especially up in Southern Oregon. Yeah. That got really big up there.
So Josh is one of my inspirations for breeding. Like I wouldn't be here today doing what I do without people like Josh.
That's cool.
Yeah, Josh came through for me too. Like
he's another dude in my book.
Both of you guys have been there for me more times than not. Like both of you cats. I've let you both know how you saved my ass a million times. And you're both here in the same room at the same time. Cool. It's pretty fucking cool, actually.
Yeah, and we don't know each other.
Yeah, which is crazy. Really cool. We do. We have some mutual contacts.
We have so many mutual contacts. You were at a dinner a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
And I know pretty much everybody at the dinner party that you're at. And
that was a big one. We had like 20 people at that.
Yeah,
that was
awesome.
Like
a fun dinner.
Yeah, that's one for the history books.
Thanks for the invite.
I invited people that were going to be in LA.
Yeah, that's pretty key.
I wasn't even in LA.
You were in LA. That's
no, but Josh, he contributed the book. He grows Piff and he grows Cuban Black like I'd never seen before. Those were great.
Thanks, man.
Those were good personal, man. I like smoking those on the side.
Yeah,
sour's good. Your sour back in the day was insane.
Speaking of which, Brooks and I have been talking. We're gonna see if we can't get that original diesel out here.
Yeah.
Do you want to roll up some Blue Dream? I've got this Blue Dream here.
Yeah. We can do that.
No one's really seen it for a minute.
Yeah, it's actually.
Here
it is.
If it comes out bad, I would really.
It's all organic.
But look at the color.
No, it's Blue Dream.
And look at the colors. Look at the colors.
It's straight Blue Dream. It has that beautiful color. And
this one has tobacco in it.
Yeah, that really light, that orange color here.
Yep, for sure.
And the bright green.
This
is great, man.
Fuck, and the power went out for 4 days.
Yeah, so let's talk about that on the show. I
I
thought
would
it'd be a
love
great
to.
conversation.
I would love to. It
so-
really ties in with Alex actually and you. I had called everybody I knew to get $1,000 because I was at Lowe's and they were down to 4 generators.
Yeah.
When Sebastopol went out of power for 4 days.
Yeah.
Let's just start there. And like on day 2, I started to really worry. You know, this happens in the winter.
Sure.
And I was like, okay, day 2 was an issue. I'm gonna definitely need a generator. So I called a couple friends. No one had anything to borrow. You didn't have an extra one to borrow. Everybody was out of power up here. Everybody in California, especially Sebastopol. So then I ended up calling Alex and I said, hey man, I need help. And he's like, okay. And within an hour and a half, I'm signing the release for the generator and walking out. And
wow.
I was saved because like we hit 89% in that room, humidity.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, you know, I'd already had some loss with mold because I didn't have any dehus in there on this run.
Well, and Blue Dream grows big, fat monster buds.
Luckily,
and
it wasn't.
Those colas. I mean, my outdoor, I remember one time I had the most beautiful cola and I was like looking at it and I kind of twisted it a little bit and it split in half.
I
and
know
it was
that
completely
look.
rotted in the middle. I mean,
yeah.
the bud had to be like that big.
Yeah.
And that's what happens. Sometimes you get a little bit of moisture in there. It turns into botrytis. It's all bad.
It's done. Yeah. No, that's the worst when you put all that effort in and you see the most beautiful bud and you don't know it's there until you just touch it and it does that. Like you said, it folds over.
Oh, yeah. You're looking for a caterpillar and then you go in and all of a sudden it falls apart. You're like,
That's
now
true.
my eye, that was the beginning years of botrytis, but now my eye, I can see it from so far away.
Yeah,
you're walking in, there's that one leaf on the bud that's like crinkled and you're like, oh, and off color. And you're like, oh my God, you can see it from 10 feet away.
Totally.
And then you're like, oh, the whole room is now you can't sleep, you know?
Yeah.
So that was going on. I would go in there like for 3 nights, cutting out about a 1/4 ounce to a 1/2 ounce of mold. And then the power went out. And so I called Alex and then he said, I got you.
I'm up in the mountains. Like I moved out of Sonoma County. I didn't tell you that, but I've been living out east of Sacramento towards Tahoe.
Oh, nice.
Up there. So, and he's calling me and it's late. But the thing is, he's got the product, you know, like I've actually been saying for like at least a couple of years now, I wanted some good Dream and I didn't have the Dream. I haven't grown it.
Yeah.
You know, since last time I grew it was up above Corbell and Guerneville, up in the hills up there. And it was the only one that didn't get eaten up by the new mites that were around at the time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. When that was going on.
Yeah.
The OGs were obliterated.
Right.
By the mites.
I don't
know. Was that the first round when the russet mites came in?
It was, no one knew what it was.
Yeah.
Everyone thought it was systemic disease.
Right.
You know,
they thought it was a deficiency or a disease or whatever.
It was exactly that. That was the last time I grew Blue Dream, actually.
And actually, once you learn how to treat russet mites, it's not a big deal.
It's not a big deal
but
anymore.
But I called my mom because she's in town still, because we used to live out here and she's still out here with her husband.
Yep.
And I just told her what was up and then I cashed her out for it. And then now I own, one of them. So
nice.
Yeah. So we traded a pound of Blue Dream for a
generator.
generator.
Yeah.
That
Trade's totally legit. Yeah. No, absolutely. I was stoked. I'm like, I already have one taken care of. It's handled. And it was like week 7. Oh yeah, that's the caveat. I was at week 7. So the nugs were thick, right?
Yeah.
And the power goes out for 4 days. I'd already been cutting out the mold. And then you came through with that. It saved that thing. I still hit 3 pounds of light. Because this is the work.
Love it.
That's
what's up. Dude.
This is the working.
That's the way to do it.
This is the working man's weed, boys. Right? Anybody can grow it. It grows itself. You just feed it a little bit extra. I noticed this.
But it's having the right cut too, though.
Well, I used to have a saying.
Anything. Oh yeah, this is a good.
That's
cut.
the other thing too, because
You're gonna be. I think you're gonna have these pre-rolled, right?
I used to have a saying.
Yeah.
You could shit in the reservoir and you'd still get 2.2 pounds of light. With Blue Dream. You absolutely could. It was. It's the one thing that like it's really easy to grow. It's the most vigorous plant. The structure's great. It makes you feel good every time you grow it. You feel good about it. It's fun.
You were saying that when you walk into the room, it makes you feel good about being there. It does.
It makes you feel like you know what you're doing.
It does, man.
And it's not always like that with stuff. There's finicky genetics that they don't come out right every time you do it. They don't. They're not a 10 out of 10 every time. Where I feel like Blue Dream is fairly easy to knock it out of the park.
It's pretty easy, man. So, I needed one like that, so I was happy. Actually, you linked me with the guy who gave me the clones. Remember?
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So shout out to Nick. You know, he came through with the most stellar cuts I've gotten in a long time, and I told him, normally I won't tell a guy because I don't want him to inflate the price.
No,
right?
he's got this. This is
him,
a limited
said,
source. You know, this guy. Like,
I said, hey, bro, these are some of the best I've seen in a long time. I mean, the stems, I'm not exaggerating, are as thick as pencils every time.
Yeah, on the clones,
on his cuts. And so that round turned out really good. I used the Microbe Life, I used Biologic, and just killed it. It's so simple, you know.
That last actually,
I got the last like the Growilla. I mean, it's almost identical to the Growilla.
And actually, the last time I got you cuts was I got you the Sherbanger. I think.
Yeah,
and
Sherbanger's a good one.
His Sherbanger, bro,
is Sherbanger before a lot of people got the Sherbanger.
That's right. Yeah, and the thing was the way that indoor Sherbanger came out.
Yeah,
I prized that. I mean, that weed so far. I mean, I travel all over the United States.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And I know you travel too and stuff. It's like Blue Dream, for example. I go around looking. It's not Blue Dream. Okay, like if you say they stick out that Blue Dream, it's not Blue Dream.
No,
you know.
But there's a lot of S1s out there.
Yeah.
That's what happens is people get a bag seed and
there's like this round one. Like there's this one that's going around that's like round. It's like rounded.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the shape you want to see. You know.
This is, you want it to knuckle out like that. It's all about that.
I think that,
but it's still dense.
It knuckled out extra because of the humidity spikes that I was.
Well, it looks like it's never going to finish too.
Yeah,
totally.
Yeah, it looks like it could just go on and on.
It does.
It'll
keep popping white hairs.
It was a trip, man.
The pistols.
It kept on. I put it on the scale. I'm like, this thing keeps clocking in. I'm like, this is a heavy hitter.
It's a heavy hitter.
Yeah, dude.
And you can just push.
You guys smoking? Speaking of,
we'll smoke. Yeah, I mean, it basically it'll eat, it'll drink. It's super. It's a happy plant.
And it needs extra water compared to the rest of the genetics I was running.
Yeah.
And a lot more food this one feeds.
So I think sativas are making a comeback.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm happy. Finally, people are starting to figure that out.
Some guys will say that no, but I would say that sativas are.
Maybe it's an age bracket thing.
It could be an age bracket. The older you get, the stronger the weed's going to be.
Sativas.
Yeah. I want that leathery sativa.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm on the quest for more hazes. I got a friend, shout out to Funky Specimen out east. He's going to get me the Red Line haze. He says that's his favorite haze.
Nice.
Not a lot of people even heard of it, so I'm pretty stoked on it. At least out here.
I do have to give some respect to, I got some white truffle crossed with killer banana.
What do you think of white truffle by itself? I'm not a huge fan.
No, I'm not. But with the killer banana, it actually it grew like, actually grew a lot like Afgoo.
Nice.
Oh, that's cool.
I grew it outside and it had a lot of had a lot of Afgoo qualities. Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah.
So Afgoo is another great one. That
super silver goo.
Super silver goo. Love that super silver goo. That was good.
Yeah, the Ripple Plum.
The Ripple Plum. That was one of Josh's creations. We're gonna have a whole nother podcast
that had the super silver in it.
Yeah, that was super fire.
That was really cool.
The Ripple Plum. That was the sour.
You smoking
I thought that was the sour times.
No, the Ripple Plum was the Durban to the super silver goo.
Oh, the Durban to the silver goo.
Yeah.
That was heat. Yeah.
I actually did. I did a cross that went around a little bit for a minute. It was I did OG and Jagu, and called it Jogger.
Nice. And I seen that around.
I got it.
I think I even grew that. Actually.
Yeah.
That was you.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah.
I crossed that and then cloned it and got it around for a while. And I'm sure there's other iterations of that.
That's crazy.
That was right. Yeah.
I can't remember if we grew that. Joe and I. Our homie, or
you might have grabbed it from my. You might have grabbed it from my house.
Yeah, maybe. I don't. I know I've seen it around.
Larry Bubba.
Like I said, I didn't want to come on here and say I'm like I'm a breeder or genetics guy.
Yeah.
But like I played around enough to where I did one full year of just seeds.
Yeah.
And I was shockingly for some reason I had the intuition to like do a bunch of early like low rider crosses before it was popular.
Totally.
Like way before, all of a sudden it became like that was
realizing
like
the value in having something that
for me because
really
I was going up on the hills and we were trying to get those extra runs out and not have to pull tarps and do depths.
That's crazy. You knew that because I was reading that stuff in the 90s. Well, I would never buy that.
That was the thing. That was the thing is you could get them like you could order Amsterdam. They had all the lowrider crosses.
Yeah, they had them in
that's why I call them lowriders because that's an Amsterdam.
That's what they were calling it.
Yeah, blue lowrider, red lowrider.
Well, it was a Canadian term, right? Because it was the BC depots.
Was it BC that did that?
Yeah, it was the BC depots that were running them because the BC guys. It
was Amsterdam seeds though.
First.
Yeah.
Can't remember the breeder up there, but he was popular and that was what he specialized on. I was like, I would never fuck with that. But now look at it. I think it was Atomic something.
Huh.
Right? Do you remember that Atomic? Anyways,
no.
That was some of the first autoflowers.
Well, see, I was messing with the Mexican Rudorella stuff. Like I was because a lot of those guys.
Mexican Rudy.
That's where you could get the cheap like bulk, all that.
Kidding.
And so I kind of got real friendly with them, and I was kind of kind of bringing in some crosses of that stuff.
It was never good though. It always smelled like hay.
No, but there was some good ones. There was some orange ones.
I never saw the really good ones.
I know.
I only saw the hay coming down because, from California, we were getting them from the guys in the valley or
I was
the
going to
guys
say
in
it
the
too.
foothills, right?
I will say it too, though. A lot of it was brick that was reconstituted from and they called that Arizona weed.
That's hilarious.
And they would just reconstitute it and then call it early grow.
Right.
Do you guys remember the
Botanicas?
Botanica. We were talking about blueberry kush being called Botanica.
Yeah, blackberry kush. Yeah.
Blackberry kush.
But back in the day, like you get weed from Mexico, and if it was green, it was the Botanica.
Oh yeah.
Or the Mexican indicas.
Yeah.
Well, that's where the whole
it was probably
there was some pressed green stuff that was okay. It would get you high and it didn't give you as much of a headache.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. And you were stoked when that came through. At least I was.
Well, you break it up and you put it in the room with the shower on and get that shit to poof up. And
that's not how we just broke it.
We just smoked it on a can. Fuck you.
Well, see, I'm a little younger.
Your parents trained you up.
Yeah, because my dad had that stuff. They had the dry version. Yeah.
If you haven't had
you knew what to do.
If you haven't had a seed pop off a can, you don't know what growing or smoking is.
Right, popcorn.
Dude, popcorn. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's old school.
Okay,
yeah.
Awesome.
Good stuff.
Yeah, man. What other old strains?
Dude, there's so many. Let's say,
so you stole both of mine. I wanted to say Hassan and I wanted to say Pink Cream.
Well, we talked about the cushage. So tell us about the cushage because you used to crush the cushage.
That's Adam Dunn's.
That's OG times the sage.
To the sage. Yeah. And interesting enough, that thing really was PM resistant.
It was leafy.
No, mine, the one I have had a great calyx to leaf ratio, in my opinion. Was not a good hash maker, probably, but incredible producer. One of the heaviest yielder strains I've ever grown was that cushage, and it threw off a tart note and a creamy note. And then I put it to the Durban, and that's where we got the raspberry cheesecake kush because it had the raspberry cheesecake tart and flavor come through. It got shortened down to just the raspberry kush later,
right?
And a lot of people mistake the blackberry and raspberry; they look totally different. But that cushage, and then I've grown his sage, which is phenomenal. If you get a good
how many weeks did that with
shout out to Adam and Mojave.
Yeah, big up, boys. For sure. That's the real strong shit.
The real strong, yeah.
How many weeks would that run, the raspberry?
It was like 62, 63 days. Yeah, it was like 9 weeks.
Yeah.
And then, but the sage is, I have access to some seeds that are from Adam's creation of the sage. A mutual friend of ours, Bo Speichter, he's one of the owners of Dutch Lighting Innovations. Yeah. He's giving me those genetics that Adam gave back to him. Long story, and I'll let him tell you the story sometime. You should definitely have him up here. But the seeds that were used to make that, they lost the genetics. And so Bo still had them. And Adam reached out to Bo, and Bo gave him. And so Adam gave him the seeds that created the sage.
Yeah.
And Bo's going to give
I remember picking up some packs of that sage actually with some God's Breath, I think it was.
Oh, really?
Or was that
God's Breath was good?
Or God's Gift?
There was God's Gift.
Yeah, God's Gift.
Someone made God's Breath, though. I remember seeing packs of God's Breath.
You're right. That's why it came to mind, but I think it was God's, at that time, it was God's Gift.
God's Gift was the one.
I think it wasn't to the lamb's breath. Breath. I think it was to like a shark's breath.
Right.
That one. The
Shark's Breath. You had Shark's Breath?
Yeah, God's Breath is Shark's Breath.
Was it Shark's Tooth? No, there's
Shark's Breath.
Shark's Breath.
They had that.
So I feel like when I was picking up all those packs kind of came together almost.
Yeah.
The sage. I saw the sage.
What was that guy that was just crossing everything in Amsterdam? Not Mr. Nice.
All of those guys were just crossing everything.
Right. But
and then they were making seeds of stuff that didn't taste like, as Americans, we were like, wait a second, that OG Kush is not OG Kush.
Oh, I got one. Strawberry Cough.
Strawberry Cough.
Good one.
Yeah, I like Strawberry Cough.
That was the
Bruce
first
Banner.
Bruce Banner. Yeah.
From the Strawberry Cough. But the Strawberry Cough was fire.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't like growing the cough because you have to thin and release that one so crazy. It branches out so much.
I like the Fort Collins Cough better than the Strawberry Cough. That Fort Collins Cough is good. It's super special.
I think I got some seeds of that.
I made some banana Skittles. Yeah, the banana cough is fire.
Banana Cough. I think I got that.
There should be some really good ones.
I got 10 of those in there. So.
That was made in my backyard. So that's
I'm
excited about
hand
that.
Watered.
That's gonna be grown in my backyard.
King's Mix, age old. that was the hand water.
Still hand water. Even at scale.
I enjoy I don't know. I 80 plants in my backyard.
Yeah.
And I woke up every morning. I watered them. Joe helped me water sometimes when I was gone or whatever out of town. But we hand watered. I still enjoy. I won't do it indoors. I don't think it's practical. I think hand watering is for me, I'm not a huge hand watering fan indoor, but waking up in the morning where you're tending to plants in your backyard, that's fun.
Yeah, it is. I still do it. That's a thing. I'm on the road all the time. Like I said, I used to grow a lot.
Yeah.
I had to I gave that up, a lot of that up to, for the ancillary market, hitting the United States and traveling and all that. But I still make sure I always got my plants there. I do full season right now. I was doing, I was tapered from doing indoor to doing dep and then back to full grown and started in full grown, full sun.
Right.
But I love it, man. And I love just having like all different strains and stuff.
Dude, I still hand water. Even 2 acres, I'll hand water.
I
won't do it by
backyard,
myself, but me and my guys will hand water 2 acres.
I won't do
indoor, outdoor.
It's not at all.
And I've got over 30 years doing it. But the reason why I do it is because I know it so well.
Yeah, you do it in industrial.
I understand it, and it understands me. For me to try and learn a different curve right now, there's not enough incentive in it. I actually enjoy it. It's
you have to
meditation.
teach the system to water like you. Yeah. That's the thing. You'd have to teach it.
Yeah, of course. But I really enjoy it. It's kind of like my time. My drive out to the farm and my space away. I don't have cell reception.
It's so funny because you lived in the same county, but it was like such a long drive to get up to Kaz.
For you.
I mean, you're used to it.
Sebastopol to Kaz was a little bit of a trip.
It was a trip.
It's an hour and 20 minutes.
An hour and 20 minutes.
Yeah.
That's 2 joints.
It's a country road.
Windy roads.
It's a couple joints. Yeah, exactly.
But we've had some of our best times going up there too.
Exactly.
Hanging out,
It's not like driving up the 101 for an hour and a half.
Well, that's premium.
You got CHP up your ass.
Right.
Like I'd see a sheriff a few times a year driving out to Kaz. That was it.
Yeah.
So smoking spliffs was great.
Yep.
Premium weather too up there. Like, had some really good outdoor up there. You did. Yeah. Your depths were incredible.
The fucking elevation and this banana belt that Cazadero has, that
it's a special climate.
Yeah, it's really nice.
Really good for growing.
Yeah.
You grew some good flower out of there for sure.
Yeah. And you know who was there before me? Mel Frank for years.
Oh, wow.
Look in his books and you'll see.
It was on the same property.
No. The same ranch.
Same ranch.
So the same hills. So he's like, it will say Cazadero underneath some of his photos in his books.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I'm like, that's fucking awesome.
Yeah. That's the spot where you can see it 30 minutes away. You can see it on a hill and then you drive up to it. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Sebastopol kind of ended up being like a little like broker mecca, for a minute.
Right.
Sebtown.
It really was.
It was like because you had Humboldt folks, you had LA folks.
Oh yeah.
I'm talking that was right before we were all sending it out, or people were sending it out to New York and all that. But it's like
true,
but LA was actually coming up.
Mm-hmm.
Remember they were bringing it down to LA.
That one cat rented a house in town and he just have all the growers just drop off and all the buyers come over.
It went off in Sebastopol.
It was going on for years right downtown. I was like, this is nuts.
Yeah. Yeah, the hardcore coffee spot.
Oh yeah, there's some good hardcore coffee. Yeah. I've been there a few times with this guy.
That's the meeting spot. You got
totally
to pull up.
When there's the Hop Monk.
Actually, I grew up in Sebastopol on Ives Park.
Yeah, Hop Monk.
There's also Ives Park right there.
Yeah.
But that was like the spot. That was young.
I met Les Claypool at the Hop Monk.
Yeah. I worked at Powerhouse Brewing Company when I was a kid.
He lives in Occidental. Yeah, on Harrison Grade up by Mickey Hart.
I would serve him at Powerhouse Brewing Company. You remember that spot?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's the Hop Monk.
I used to work for Lagunitas.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
For
it's
sure.
a small world. Everybody's so interconnected.
Yeah.
Those dudes contributed to my book too.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Tony and
well, because they got into all the with the
they know a good herb.
Yeah.
Those
the CBD drinks guys. And all that too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. It's actually funny too. The thing about hops too that I find a lot of people just learning this for the first time, like they think of alcohol, right? Drinks, as just alcohol. What's the content like? But you got to remember these are, that's why they call them spirits. These are elixirs, and they're all different things. And one of the best examples and proof of that is a hoppy beer. The hopaloids is actually a nervous system sedative on its own.
Yeah, for sure.
So forget the liquor and the alcohol part.
It's a total.
So, but the alcohol is like an extract form, right?
Yeah.
So then you start thinking about that. When you think about that, like tequila, vodka, rum, all these different things, people go, I can't drink rum, but I can drink tequila.
Yeah.
Well, why is that? That's because it's something to do with like the alkaloids or the extracts that they have from that plant.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I think that's kind of cool. Like the hops actually, grafts to cannabis,
I didn't know they grafted
I've done it.
I didn't
know they grafted.
That's one of the coolest things ever. You got to send us pictures.
Dude, So I had Humboldt hops, and when I had my house in Windsor, I had Humboldt hops. I got it from Humboldt Hydroponics.
Yeah.
There they had it under in their little tents. They're growing hops in there, and I took a cutting from that. I brought it down, and I fucking I grafted it to Chem Dog 91.
That's awesome.
Wild.
And
well, they're
you grafted to a
rhizomes,
really
right?
good
So
strain.
they grow and they go dormant and then they pop up and grow like wildfire. They're really awesome.
They're really awesome. Yeah, you could actually they grow very different than cannabis.
Very different, yeah.
But they're genetically similar enough to graft to each other.
They're from the same family for those who don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, for
Right.
sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can grow one on the other.
I
So,
didn't
like-
know
you can
that.
grow a cannabis.
You can grow
limb
cannabis on a hop, and you can grow
or
a hop
vice
on a cannabis.
versa.
Yeah,
I didn't know
Have
they
you done
figured
both?
that out.
I've done it. No, I've only done it one way. I've only done hops on cannabis.
That's
I'm
crazy.
really
Yeah, let's
interested
do it.
in-
Let's spark it up again and do
You
it.
know, I'm all about R&D. So
Yeah.
That is a
Yeah.
great R&D thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
it's
rad.
fun.
Yeah.
That could lead to a lot
The whole
of really
grafting
cool
thing
stuff.
has always interested me. Micah and I
Yeah.
back in the day, we almost did a nursery project where we got OG Kush and we were going to graft it for, the outdoor season, sell grafts of Blue Dream OG
Oh yeah,
Kush.
get a cool ass bush.
Yeah, because OG Kush has like a small root zone. It struggles a little bit. But what happens when you put it on a Blue Dream root zone? Or put it on a Blue Dream
And I actually think that
Root
there's
stock.
root stock.
that's
cool.
an R&D valid thing to do, is to see what kind of effects
I
they have
say
on
probably
each
the
other.
best root stock to put anything on would be a Blue Dream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is the
Grow
apical
OG on a
of-
Blue Dream.
Yeah,
boost.
it's a Concord
Yeah,
grape root stock
Yeah.
right there.
Yeah. Hey, that's the next stage, because
Yeah.
there are some crazy ass fruit trees out there. Of course, it's much easier for something that grows year after year after year, the same rootstock.
Right.
To when you graft to something like that, that's you're encouraging that more and more.
Mhm.
Multiple strains, so you
Yeah.
just have multiple flavors.
Yeah,
Well, in the ag world, they've had to do that
with fruits. Yeah,
with fruits, with
Yeah.
walnuts,
avocados.
Yeah, walnuts. Yeah.
Yeah, it's for pollen,
Right.
too, so they would self pollinate and all that. Too.
Right.
That's another reason. It's male and female. They would do male and
Well,
female.
like walnuts, the roots, the black walnut, I think it was, the American walnut, the root stock was much stronger than the European walnut.
Yep.
And so everything was dying from Europe, so they figured out how to graft it onto the American.
Yeah, so all of them.
That's actually it's
everything.
that's actually a great segue
Every
for
one of
wanting
them.
to invite both of you guys to Kendall Jackson Winery. I want to do a lunch out
That
there.
would be
And
fun.
Super down.
my brother's a chef over there.
Incredible chef, one of the best in the world.
And the reason why I mentioned that is because
Paul-
that's an old
Paul
walnut.
Schroeder.
It's
big
an
up.
old walnut farm. It's actually an old walnut grove.
Yeah.
And they
James, you
left
don't
some
know
of them
this,
there.
actually.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt you,
Yeah.
but James is an incredible chef.
He
Incredible.
knows. Yeah, he knows.
Well,
We
I
were
know,
talking
right?
a little bit
sorry,
about it on
you
the
guys
show
have
earlier.
it.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah,
I just got
Well,
it.
we actually mostly talked about it in person, I think, or private,
Yeah.
about you being in the food,
I mean,
food world.
a whole different level, like your
Yeah.
brother.
Yeah. Well, that's actually what
Yeah.
really inspired me to invite you guys out to there. Like, there's two reasons. Is like, there's the food aspect, but it's also like a farm to table environment and stuff.
Nice.
And I don't work for Kendall Jackson, but
Yeah.
but my brother does, and it's an awesome environment out there. Like, they're master gardener out there. I'll have to get you the name later, what his name is, but
Nice.
it's just the most immaculate thing. They also do like a thing where they do where you smell different foliages, like they grow different plants
Yeah.
that you smell while you drink wine.
Really
And I think
cool.
that's really cool. So instead of being a pairing, because they do food pairing and all that, which
Yeah.
you expect, but they also
Yeah.
do where they grow plants just for their smell.
Nice.
For their, and you break them and you take a sip of the wine and
Part of that
smell it.
experience.
Yeah, it's
Totally.
pretty cool. Yeah, we'll have to do that. Maybe
That sounds
maybe,
awesome.
Maybe bring the show down.
All right, stoners, let's reel it in here.
Yes.
What other strains?
yeah.
So
Cat piss.
Oh, yeah.
that's like a hot topic on my show. There's a hot topic for debate is
I
cat
listen to your
piss.
show,
really
so I
is,
know.
But the real
huh?
cat piss back in the day was so good.
So there's people saying it came out of San Diego.
No,
and there's people
it
saying
came out of everywhere. Anything
Everywhere.
that somebody
Yeah.
bred that had
Well-
ammonia smelled like cat piss, they called it cat piss.
Yeah, okay.
So it's not like Blue Dream where it's a specific name. That's my
Yeah.
opinion. We're doing a
No, that
documentary
makes
on it.
sense.
People get to watch the documentary.
Yeah.
But dude, like the photos that you did in the book, not to say change subjects, but the photos that you did, Ben actually did the photos. You grew the flower. There's the Chem 91 that was grown by Josh. There was the Piff.
I love that.
There
Cam.
was the I believe the Star Dog is in there.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
Man.
Star Dog, yeah.
Yeah.
Yo.
Yeah.
Yo.
He grew, yeah, we got that. We got the Piff. We got all those. So yeah, it's great.
Did you guys ever come across the Starfire?
I haven't not.
The
but I've
Starfire
seen it.
I
OG?
remember the Starfighter.
Starfighter, sorry. I
Yeah.
said fire. I said fire.
You did say
Yeah,
Starfighter,
because
but
there
you
was
meant
there was
Starfighter.
fire OG.
Yeah, there was Fire OG.
Yeah.
I'm sure if
I
you
have
cross those
not.
together, you get
Starfire. Yeah, it exists. I swear.
I've heard of it, but I have not.
No, that one's real, like a real bright kind of real bright OG. Actually, I mean, still nothing to this day. Like I was saying this earlier, it beats Chem 91 for me. I think that one goes down in the Guinness book for me as like just all around high. The terps. I know it's not the best commercially to grow. It was
it's not as tight of a structure.
it doesn't yield.
It can have a really good structure. It
just
depends
when you
on the
grew
cut.
it indoor, it was really good. The structure was really good. I wouldn't say it has the best structure, but it's so subjective, right?
Yeah, subjective because what is
it might not fit the purple candy gas model,
right?
But it fits the model that I like and that you like and that you like.
Yeah, that turp model for me is right there, the Chem 91. But I
like the smell of burnt tires.
Yeah,
there's something that just brings me back.
I would actually use the word when I was like checking pounds out because you gotta when you're brokering you gotta look at pounds and check them out.
Yeah,
I used burnt rubber is what I use.
Burnt rubber,
yeah. But I was always looking for that. I was like,
but before anybody, well, we're talking before Instagram.
It smells a little bit too much like latex.
Instagram, he was saying that shit.
Yeah, I was saying it before. Yeah,
but I want to say like Chem 91's great for sure, and big up Chem Dog and the whole.
It's the
family.
high too, though. It's a high too.
But that sour diesel is my favorite smoke all around because the flavor of that is just what I prefer. And side by side, I'd rather smoke that. I think it burns better in a joint.
And it was named sour because of sour relationships, but it did the opposite for us. Because I mean, we're here today because of sour. Yeah. There's a lot of great stories we have that are positive about sour diesel.
Yes.
Well, I've raised like 3 daughters on it.
Yeah. More positive than negative, especially friendship wise. Like it brought us together. Sour diesel was the one that brought us together. Not that Chem Dog didn't.
Chem Dog too. I brought you the sour I had. You gave me the Chem you had. And I think I gave you my Silverback Growilla at that time too.
You did. Yeah.
And but I had been looking for that. We'll talk about the whole story later. But the Chem Dog I got from you was really good. The 91 I got sent out from Boston, and it was good, from Massachusetts, from the Cape actually.
Yeah.
But side by side for me personally, I just like the smoke. The way it smokes in a joint is the sour, you know, and the flavor. You know, for me.
I know what
I got one thing that we got to talk about before you guys go.
What is it?
The HK.
Oh yeah,
the Henry Kissinger.
Let's talk about it, man. You might not know about it because you're a little younger.
No, I was like, was it Hindu Kush?
Yeah, good. Yeah, so you know about it.
The Kissinger. Yeah, the Kissinger.
Yep.
Yeah, the Kissinger was that was the one. That was amazing terps. It was before OG Kush and before all this, or at least my experience. Like that was the original.
Way before.
I'm thinking Master Kush too, and Bubba
but it
Kush,
was very different than OG Kush.
Yeah.
So
there was Master Kush and Bubba Kush with that too.
Master Kush and Bubba was like, that was like late 90s. There was the Master and the Bubba, and I loved both of those. They were both top shelf. Those were the exotics.
Those are some of my first exotics.
The structure on the Master sucked. It grew like it would basically grow sideways. The buds would have like side branches. It was
low side branching too, on
the actual.
I'm a little younger than you guys, just a little bit, just enough to where like those were my first exotics.
Wasn't it a lower yielder too?
I think so. It was real gassy though, and it was really like you could smoke it.
I know Bubba always got botrytis.
Yeah, you could smoke it down the roach.
Got bud rot.
Bubba was fire though. It was soapy. That's a soapy.
Too soapy for me and the botrytis. So I peeled off the Bubba.
I would do so many
bread
pounds
with it because I was like, that's a potential. The yield was a nice, and the look had.
Did you make the Larry Bubba? Who made the Larry Bubba?
No,
that was you. I got it from Joe. I think actually.
Yeah.
That was a good one.
Oh, I didn't make that. Yeah. But what were we talking about?
Hindu Kush.
Hindu Kush. Yeah. Hindu Kush. Oh yeah. We were getting $6,400 a pound for that in the early 90s.
Yeah.
See, I was
you
like
could buy
9 years
1
old.
ounce, or you could buy like how old?
Yeah.
How old?
I was like 9 or 10 years old and like 92, 91. So that was 98 is kind of where I got in, like 90, 97, 98.
Yeah.
But I was young then too.
Like 91 was the first year I started smoking.
Yeah, and that's I'm over here saying Chem 91 is my favorite album. I had
91 was a great year. Yeah.
We had the seeds we were running. We grew from seed only, and it was from the Cincy seed stock. And I think that was their NL2, right? Do you remember, James? Back then, I don't remember because I got jumped into this group as a new grower, and they were already established, like older guys, and I was the new kid, you know. And so, but later on, I've tried to figure out what was that Hindu Kush that we had from Neville, because and what I've deduced it down to, and don't quote me on it, but I think it's their NL2 is where the Hindu Kush came from.
Interesting.
And they changed it later years to Hindu Kush, its own.
But Hindu Kush is like a mountain range in the.
It's a region,
It's a region.
It's a region. So there's obviously a story behind it. For sure.
There's the Kush Valley, the Hindu Kush. Yeah. But I think
the Hindu Kush. Yeah.
I think it also means something like warrior or destroyer, like the Hindu word Kush. I think that has to do with.
There's more meaning behind it.
Yeah, a lot of violence and destruction.
Yeah.
Well, we've got to wrap the show up today. I was so glad to have you guys on. But if somebody's looking to find out more about you, Where can they get a hold of you?
You know, you can get on my Instagram, Silverback Growilla, Growilla, and then that's probably the best way to do it.
Yeah.
Or through you. You know, I'm going to be offering some of this Blue Dream with your pre-rolls, and we've got all these seeds combos we've done. So that's happening. You know, I just hit up your website.
Yeah. The seed combos, and then Catchmaster Alex.
Yeah. I mean, that's pretty much what it is. It's Catchmaster _ Alex. Yeah.
Catchmaster _ Alex.
Yeah. But you can find it if you type it in, because I don't think there's another Catchmaster Alex at the moment.
You're not shadow banned yet, so you can actually type in part of it.
Yeah,
Nice.
I do get some post banned, but yeah, so far so good.
But yeah, man, thank you guys so much for coming on the show.
Fun, James. Thank you.
Well, we'll do it again soon. We got to get our friend Joe on here, and then really talk about how the Durban poison came to the Bay, as far as the Durban poison that I know. Came back to the Bay through this guy right here.
Yeah, man.
So, good stuff.
All right.
Well, thank you guys for coming on.
Yeah, thank you.